Okay, we're joined now by Jenni Releford of Lynchburg Field Hockey, the assistant coach for them. Joining us from your house, how are things where you are?
Things are great. I have a 14-month-old running around and keeping me in shape, and another due in 2 weeks, a little boy. So, I mean, I'm busy, but um, you know, they're just keeping me on my toes.
We've had the pleasure of seeing your 14-month-old on our calls, on our staff meetings now and then. What I want to ask, especially young parents, like, think about it. It's been 14 months. Like, is it crazy to look at that child and say, "Wow, about a year ago, you didn't exist." I don't know what's that like for a parent.
It's definitely been crazy, especially with like the pandemic. And I mean, she knows what like a computer is because obviously I'm on it all the time now. And my parents, she FaceTimes with them, and like Michael's parents, she'll like kind of FaceTime with them. And it's the fact that she kind of understands that, and that's like the new normal for her, to like see them through a computer instead of seeing them in person. But now that we have like our staff meetings and she's in the background like waving, it's like so normal for her. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Well, let's since we're already on that topic, let's go to being a mom during a pandemic, being a coach during a pandemic, and not being around. Folks that are in our department know that you haven't been coming to the hybrid session, so you could come to campus. Those that don't know, you can come to campus, or if you're already in your office, you can enjoy the meeting that way, or you can do it from home. Obviously, you have very good reason to stay home. But what else? You're a new mom. This is a new thing that has only happened once in 100 years. How do you get through it? Who do you talk to maximize this time and make sure that both yourself and your husband and your child just don't go completely crazy?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely been, I didn't expect to spend obviously this much time with her, but at the same time, it's obviously been a blessing in disguise to be able to like have all this time and kind of watch her grow instead of, I mean, being on the field and being in season. Obviously, being busy traveling, we'd be doing all of that. So it has been nice to have that time before the newborn comes. And I mean, we have other like Audra, she has her kid. There's other people in the staff who have kids. So I feel like talking with them regularly, seeing how their kids are, like they might not physically get to see them. Like Coach Smith, he has EJ. So like we've tried to everyone kind of keep in contact and see how everyone's doing, which is nice. And I mean, it's kind of like the Lynchburg family. It's nice to have others who are going through the same as you, kind of like, it's not the normal way to like kind of parent your kids, like not having them out and about, meeting other kids as much. So it's definitely been hard, like trying to get her to like socialize and do stuff. But there's been things in Lynchburg going on that we've taken her to gymnastics and like small group stuff. So I didn't expect it to be that way, but I mean, I've loved being able to watch it. And like with Michael's job being a firefighter, he gets plenty of time off as well. So it's going to be nice for both of us to have that opportunity to really be together during it all.
5 years ago, as myself and Ed arrived, you arrived as well at the University of Lynchburg, well, then Lynchburg College, as a GA, and here you are now as a full-time assistant. What do you look back on 5 years ago in terms of your own personal growth? What have you seen as the biggest positive to being in the environment that is the Lynchburg Athletic Department, and more importantly, working with someone like Enza Steele?
I mean, I think the D3 environment, obviously I came from D1, which is very different, has been such an eye-opener and such an amazing experience. I've just kind of fallen in love with the D3 aspects and how much like hands-on experience you get from being a GA. Like, I feel like you can walk into maybe other programs and you might not be able to have as much input. And with Coach having that trust in me and being able to allow me to go recruit him, help with practice. I mean, she's really put me kind of in every avenue to kind of help get where I am today, which I don't think I would have experienced at other places. So it's really her having that faith and me learning from her to eventually get to where I am today, so that she can kind of rely on me to do stuff without being like, okay, we have to walk through it kind of deal. So definitely that aspect is crazy to look back on and think I was a GA, like had no clue, like just kind of fresh out of college, and I had kind of like the Scottish side of coaching, which is a little bit different to here. So I was definitely nervous, but I think adding it all up together has been, I mean, it's great for me, and I think it's definitely widened my toolbox to where I am today.
What would people that aren't around Coach Steele as much as you are, what would they be most surprised by if they did have a chance to spend a whole day with her? What's something they'd be like, wow, I did not expect that from Coach Steele?
I don't know. I feel like, I don't know, that's a tough one.
I mean, is she funnier than people might think?
She always brings her own lunch, and it always smells great, but everybody knows she's like the best cook ever, so that's like nothing new. I feel like you could smell it down the hallway as soon as she's got like her homemade pasta in or something. So I mean, she always has the best lunch, I'll tell you that.
Yes, she does. Yeah, there's no question about that. I'm glad I'm not in the back cave anymore, because that's where she would bring it to heat it up. I'm like, man, I got a cheese and ham sandwich over here. This sucks.
Yep. Quirks. She's funny. I mean, obviously she can be very serious in the field, and I mean, you think, oh, she's got all these wins and she's in the Hall of Fame, like, to have all that, but yet have family side, funny side, and be able to just like the girls walk into her office and relate and just have like daily questions, and I mean, just sit down and kind of like, you call them like coffee talks kind of deal, just come in and chit chat. Obviously with the pandemic that might change, but just having like that kind of open door, like, I mean, it's not as, we want to win and we want to be at the top of our game, but you don't see the behind the doors kind of stuff that's just like a family.
Yeah, now I guess it's log in and chit chat. No more walking in and chit chat. That's where we are. Well, let's talk about the team. We just brought them up. Obviously, we had Alex Redmond on the show a couple weeks ago, and we discussed the dynamic of the team and the culture that was with that program. Some of that's kind of, the culture's not in question, but like the progression of that culture is in question now, certainly with the news about things on campus being suspended for 7 days and then not having a fall championship to play for an NCAA ranks related to the actual fall season or even in the spring. And yet here you guys are as a coaching staff, and you have to, for your own sake, want to keep playing because that's what you love, but keep them engaged to still want to fight and still want to go to practice and get better to play in as many games or whatever that looks like for the year. Is there a way that you all have found as a staff that best brings that message to them and kind of relates it in a way that they are picking that up, or are you still trying to find the right grounds to stand on when it comes to keeping things moving forward as opposed to staying stagnant?
I mean, it's definitely hard. I think as a coaching staff, we're very lucky. I mean, when we recruit these girls, like, of course we want the best kids, like everything that every coach looks for, but we're also recruiting kids that have that self-determination, want to go out and do stuff by themselves, will work on the summer on Coach Smith's packets, and they make our job 100 times easier, because even though that they don't have a season, they're so positive, and they're wanting to get out in the field. They're asking for the keys to still do socially distancing drills, and it's nice to see that again. I mean, it makes it so much easier for us that, of course, we're going to encourage and kind of hope for the best and say, now we got to look to spring, and some people like the senior years and stuff like that. But I mean, you'd think that a lot of them would be down, and of course, probably inside they are, but they do a great job of really not showing it to each other or to us. And I mean, I think they're a great, like, positive aspect to not just the Lynchburg community, to like other athletes going through the same thing with the spring sports obviously not happening. I don't know, it just is, it's nice to definitely coach, and it's rare to find a group of girls like that. And I think that's something that Coach Steele has instilled since she got here, and we've been able to follow through with each recruiting class, really.
You mentioned that they don't show it in terms of if it is bothering them. Do you feel like maybe the Zoom meetings that you do or however you get together is therapeutic for everybody, including, your players and the coaches? Maybe that's why you all aren't as on edge as maybe the parents and the fans are right now?
Yeah, I definitely say so. I mean, when we go on them, don't get me wrong, we still kind of have our whine and grind and kind of are like, yeah, like this definitely sucks. But there's always a turn at the end. Like, we're still going to work towards this goal. We still want to be ODAC champs. We want to make it to a final, an NCAA championship. And the girls have always said that since the start of this pandemic. Like, even when we first had our Zoom call way back in like March. So the fact that that's still the goal and we're still working towards that. I mean, I had freshmen yesterday being like, oh, we're going to be lifting next week and I can't wait. And it's just kind of, they've only been here for just about a week, but it's kind of already instilled from the upperclassmen that we're still working towards a goal that we don't know if it's going to happen, but we're still going to work towards it.
Well, adding to that uncertainty, as you mentioned, freshmen, and not being able to travel a whole lot, we still have plans to continue with enrollment, still have school next year and recruiting. What does recruiting look like right now for you guys as coaches?
A lot of Zoom meetings and a lot of Google Meets, but it's actually been something that we haven't used a lot in the past, and I feel like we'll definitely use it a lot more in the future with kids that are further out of state, up the East Coast. It's been nice because we've been able to talk to parents. We've had a lot of seniors jump in the calls. We've had we have Dr. Laponi, our faculty mentor. He's jumped in, and it's been nice to have everybody kind of help and rally around this. And I mean, everyone's kind of enjoyed it. We've had a lot of the girls being like, can I jump in this call? Like, I want to kind of talk to this recruit. So it's been nice because it's kept all of us up to date. And I think it also shows the recruit the willingness of the girls to do it. I mean, some of them were Saturday mornings, 9 a.m., like in their summer holidays. So it's definitely been different, but I think it's a tool that, I mean, we'll use a lot more. We haven't in the past. We've just kind of did the come to campus, we'll show you, we'll do the overnights, we'll do this. And it's been nice to talk to the parents through them too, and get to know them that way if we haven't met them in person yet.
One last thing I want to get to, totally unrelated to field hockey. But thanks to you, I am aware of HP sauce. I'm in love with HP sauce and actually have found it a few times in stores because originally I was waiting on your parents to bring some over before I could have some. But here, I need you to kind of, you're the authority because you grew up with it. You're from Scotland. People have told me that, oh, what big deal, it's just steak sauce. It's just like A1. But I need you to explain why it's way better than just an A1 steak sauce. Do you think you can sell it to people? Because it just doesn't, maybe it's the accent. Maybe they don't believe me because I don't sound like, the authority to say that. So I want to ask if you could tell people why it's amazing and you should never have A1 ever again.
Really, I just make my accent super thick so they don't understand me and say, oh, it's brilliant, it's so great. And they're like, oh, that's it, it is. Like, really, that's it. But I mean, it's not really a steak sauce. You put it on like fries and burgers. But I love it. My parents are coming out on Sunday and they have like 10 in their bag for me. So I'm like, yes.
Happy days.
Yes.
Happy freaking days for sure.